Hello, today I will be talking about building your own brand. My name is Steven and I'm your host. I want to just share a little bit about this topic because I think it's one of those things that a lot of people are maybe not sure about, or maybe because of insecurity, or maybe because of lack of coaching. They don't really take advantage of I guess, the generation we're living in, or I would say, like, the opportunities, like in the digital space, where you can build your own personal brand that can be seen by everyone. You can create content and start building your persona in a way that represents you, even if you're working for an organization or a company. I think this is one of those things that a lot of people should do. I'm a big fan of this because I remember talking to people, or maybe even like reading books and realizing, when you actually think about your friend group, okay, first thing, think about your friend group. When you think about your friend group, you will see that there's like friends that if you get in an accident, you would call right away. There's like a person that would come to your mind right away when I say, who would you call in an accident? There are people who you laugh with. There are friends who you cry with, friends who, in a sense, like, they're the empathetic ones, or they're the ones who you would go to if, like, let's say you made a really big mistake. They're friends that who would accept you, who would run with you. And that's, I would call their personal brand. I would call that, in a way, a personal brand, and everyone has it. As much as you might not think about it, all your friends have already pegged you. They've already marked you, into a brand. And so they know you either as the faithful one, as the loud one, as the crazy one, as the lazy, can't trust them, or like the one that's funny and I can rely on them. I can call on them. The non-complainer one, the one that will get up early, the one that will show up late. You name it, your friends have already marked you into that brand. And so I'm not saying that you can't change that. It's definitely something that can be changed. But I definitely think, with intentionality as a leader, as someone who's serious, as a creative in this hour, I think it's very important to be, I would say, proactive and intentional in your branding. Meaning, the way that people perceive you is really important, because with the social media age, you can definitely, of course, fall into the trap of showing people a side of you that might not be real. But I definitely do believe that, as some people, of course, like, preach, like, hey, social media is not real. All these branding elements are not real. So it's important to keep your own personal, in a sense, like, keeping it real, keeping it authentic. But I definitely do believe that these things, of course, that are given to different spaces, right? There's like messages like for the public space. There are some for your friends, some for your intimate ones, and some for your, of course, parents. And we block this, and it's I think it's healthy. Some people might disagree with me, but I definitely think, as a leader, it's very good, and I think healthy, to have those boundaries, and have boundaries with different groups of people, because as a leader, of course, there's like a lot of expectations. There's a lot of information that you carry. There's a lot of weight that you carry. And not everyone can understand the burden that you carry. And I do believe that for any up and coming leader, you're a leader in your organization, but maybe you're not, the owner. And so you don't have your own personal brand, or you've kind of got lost into the mix of serving another brand. This is where I would come in and encourage you to really start thinking about, who are you, right? What is your message? What has God called you to? Because sometimes the reason even you might be working for who you're working with is because you guys have similar visions, and you guys have similar maybe goals that can be achieved by working together. But at the same time, there are times when you have to separate. And that's where, when you've actually been intentional about building your brand, it really does come in. I would say it does come in handy, because you're already known for something, right? Other clients and other, in a sense, people who are looking for those skill set, they are able to identify you and know you. And that's why I definitely push my people, because working in Spikenard and working with other organizations, it's something that I've really valued, and something I've even pushed some of the people that I work with. I'm like, hey, what is your dream? What do you want to accomplish? Don't just ride on Spikenard's tail, right? Like, don't just, hey, I'm going to serve Spikenard. I'm going to serve, whatever organization or company that you're working with. I'm just going to be in this, and that's it. I really do encourage people to really press in and ask themselves those hard questions, because in that you really do find yourself. You do really find your inner voice, and it does force you to kind of talk to the Lord and talk to your friends and talk to your mentors and ask them, hey, what is my brand? What is something that I'm good at? What is something that I can grow in? I definitely encourage reading books and asking and talking to people. I would say start with talking to your friends. Talk to your best friend, talk to your parents and ask them to be honest with you and ask them, what am I good at? What am I bad at? If you could give me one constructive criticism, what would that be? What is something that you think that if I grew in, it would really help me and empower me to go to the next level? You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at the answers you hear. I mean, some people, of course, are not honest, but I do believe that for the people who are honest with you, they'll give you a lot of information that will be able to help you to grow as a leader. And for me, I will just kind of give you some tips. I want to give some tips that I have found useful. I'm even trying to develop that right now, trying to post minimum like 3 times, a week, to my own page. Because as I'm sharing this, it's something that as I was building my own, I would say like organization, with Spikenard, different things, I forgot to build my own personal brand, to actually develop the different skills I have. Because like I am not just one thing, right? I work in different spheres as a leader in different platforms, and so it's very important to like find my voice as well in all the chaos, in all the I would say in all the confusion that can come with I'm doing this role here, I'm doing this role here. Who am I? I think one of the cool things in the last week, I've really started to sharpen that. Okay, I'm really passionate about leadership. I'm really passionate about coaching. I'm really passionate about some of these things. So I'm going to try to really develop that and grow and try to find content that can be a blessing to people, but also help me to engage with people. One thing that I really see myself doing is a lot of networking, because like I do have that gift of networking. And so I've been actually taking a step of acting on it and, in a sense, DMing other organizations that have the same vision. Like in the last week, I've been able to contact 2 organizations and release a video that was able to be well received with another organization that's working with creatives. And then a dream came true. And one of my favorite pages on Instagram, I contacted them, and they're in a sense, the founder contacted me back on Spikenard on Instagram, and we're able to connect. And hopefully, I will have her come and speak to my team and help us see how can we build, how can we grow as a team. So I just want to encourage you guys, as you actually start developing yourself and you start building your own personal brand, people do actually look at the information. Most of you might think, you know what, no one looks at my stuff. I don't think anyone cares, but people care more than you think. And so without further ado, I really want to jump in and give you a few tips to what can you do to develop your personal brand as a leader, because I think honestly, this is huge and this is key for growth and for also helping you in the long run. So the first thing I would say is research your target audience and your competitors. And that, of course, is as you are building your own brand, find other people that are doing the same thing as you, right? Like, so for me, I'm trying to build on like leadership coaching. I have to find other coaches, right? I have to find other people who are coaching people in the same sphere that I'm in, right? I'm mostly in the digital space, in the faith space. So I'm looking at different other coaches and other competitors. You might not call them competitors. You might call them just people who are doing the same thing, who are trying to reach the same audience that you are. So when you look at their work, it will help you, inspire you. So that means you don't have to build from scratch, right? You're able to see, okay, what kind of content do they produce? What kind of content is working for them? What kind of questions are they asking? How are they doing engagement? So that would be the first thing. Just don't be afraid. Jump right in and learn and grow from the people who are doing the same thing that you are. Research your target audience is just something that you don't have to, in a sense, like find a piece of paper and get on your laptop and find everything about your topic or what you're trying to do. But I would say for me, it's really, of course, reading. Like I love reading, and I think books really do help. One, it helps you calm down, at least for me, and then it helps you internalize some of these things. And it's almost like having a conversation with some of the top leaders in the world, and it gets me going, right? It gets me going. So I would say the research aspect is just really reading on other people who have the same kind of heart and vision as you. The second thing I would say is pick your focus and personality, and this is something that is really I would say really important because for me, I am like my brand has to represent me, right? I'm a more chill. I like memes. I like to laugh. And so it has to represent me. Like in a sense, when people read my content and they meet me in person, they should be congruent, right? They should not feel like I'm one person on my page and then I'm someone else in, like I guess like when they meet me in another space. And so I think it's very important that you actually do content, build your brand according to your personality. You don't have to be like anyone else. Even though you've researched your target audience, you've looked at your competitors, I think you just need to pick like somewhere where you're comfortable, what goes with your personality, and just kind of go with that because that is your authentic voice and it really works. People want authenticity above everything else. And then the other thing is, I would say the third thing after you've kind of picked this, few starters is pick a name that's rememberable, like a name that can, in a sense, be catchy, or something that represents something, right? Like it depends, of course, what you're trying to do. It can just be your name, in a sense, like you can build a brand around your personal name, or you can build it around, another name or an idea. So I love what Abison, if you guys know Abison, he's a designer, writer, and he build this brand kind of called Beautiful Waste, but he also has his name Abison. So he kind of uses both of them together. So you could do 2-page idea in a sense, do one that's personal for friends and then one that's kind of like building your brand separate from your own personal relationship. So either way, I think it's good. But yeah, building your brand really is key. And then the fourth, I would say, is write your slogan. And I mean, this one is very important. Like, for instance, like a slogan that I always think about is love the king, advance the kingdom. I just love that. I just love the king kingdom, love the king, advance the kingdom. Because of when I saw it, actually, I got it from one of my friends, John Kim, Kairos in Bali, and they tagged that and I just loved it. And so just picking a slogan really works because it kind of helps people identify and it has to be catchy. And you can wait on that, as time goes, like inspiration will come. But I would say just be free, like put that down and say, okay, I'm going to write a slogan for kind of my brand. What will people say I'm about and what am I going after? The fifth thing would be to choose the look of your brand. So what that is simply colors and font. So honestly, when you look at Spikenard, you see a lot of pastel colors, you see a lot of bright colors. I love bright colors. Like our main color is literally yellow, right? So I love bright colors. I feel like I have a bright personality. I'm literally the kind of guy that's always looking at the positive side of things all the time. People say I laugh at every joke. So I just pick like really bright colors, like, I would say pick something that's congruent with your personality, something that goes with your brand, and don't be afraid to just do that because it does help. And then also, it depends also who you're trying to reach, because for some people, they're trying to be more, in a sense, like a professional. There's like almost like pages are more reaching to professionals, so that you're trying to keep it a little more classy. There are some that are more geared towards creatives, and so you have to be a little bit more, in a sense, more creative and outside the box. Where, like I was saying, like a business platform, I wouldn't really do that. So it depends, like going with like a navy blue, like black, whites, straight darker colors for like a professional look. I would say would go better, like dark browns, that kind of thing. The fifth thing would be I'm on the sixth point for building your own personal brand would be design your logo. I mean, it could just be honestly your name, or it could just be just like, for instance, for me, one of the things I've been trying to build in the background is 1,000 ships. So it's kind of like the name of my business, and 1,000 ships. I just, even with Spikenard, like I've wanted for a long time, I'm still building on it, being like something with like ships, right? Like having ships sailing. And the reason for that is because, right, this oil was shipped and sailed, it was shipped from India to the known world. And so I think that's kind of where I derived that from, as well as the idea of like just launching, shipping things and just kind of going for it. That's my personality. And so I just like love that image. And so I'm still building that. I literally on my Pinterest is just like, like selling sailboats and different other kind of like ships and different things. And so I'm still building that. But yeah, have fun. Like look up different things that can help you with your brand. And then the seventh and last thing will be to just apply your branding across your like everything that you're doing, try to incorporate that. So most of you would probably be building your brand separate from your personal page, because your personal page is like maybe for friends and family. And then as you build your personal brand and personal page on the side, is try to integrate them, right? Try to create engagement where you blend all your stuff so people never forget, in a sense, like who's doing what. And it's always good to, in a sense, really look at, okay, who's my audience? Who am I speaking to, and what are they looking for? And am I giving them what they're looking for? And so those were the steps that I really give to anyone that is looking to build their personal brand. And I would encourage you to do so. I know that Donald Miller, who's like one of my favorite authors, I read one of his books, Father Fiction, in college, and it changed my life. So I would like to just like recommend his book. He talks a lot about branding. It's Build Your Brand. Or I can just actually, what I can do is, if anyone, the first 3 people that, in a sense, contact us on our social media page, I will buy you that book by Donald Miller. So he just wrote a new book. It's actually not really new, but it's still in a newer. It's like building your story brand. So if you just go on Google and you search story brand, you'll find his things. And he has like the other book, Keep It Simple. But I would say if you want that book, Building a Story Brand, Clarify Your Message, contact us and we will get you that book. And so looking forward to growing with you guys as leaders. And please give us feedback on our social media. What can we do better? And what challenges do you have? What are the topics do you want to hear about? But this is like one of the things that I definitely think is important. I hope it was a blessing to you and it was able to help you. And if you need help, just contact us at Spikenard and we'll help you. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who tuned in this week, and I'll see you next week.